Oh, what's good, dude? First thing I wrote down, exceptional foundation, athletic. You being 19, dude, I don't want to sit here and like give you all these mechanical terminology and get you to think about throwing like it's rocket science. It very well can be rocket science, but the thing that the best that have ever done it do really well is they simplify the complexities. I see pitching mechanics as velocity, command, health. They're all intertwined. We move better, we throw better. That's the simple name of the game. There's ways in our delivery that we can essentially manipulate velocity that aren't healthy. There's nothing that I would see in your delivery that speak volumes to that. Usually when guys move really well and they put themselves into leveraged, powerful postures that allow the bigger muscle groups, right, to take load, then you're going to be probably throwing harder and you're probably going to be getting into those leverage postures on a consistent, repeatable basis, which gives you the ability to command the baseball. Head pull, shoulder weak, things that you've been told in your delivery. Head pull for me is an action reaction. Anytime we have something in our delivery, right, that takes us into whether it be aggressive counter rotation, you do such a good job of your descending move into your load phase and allowing that drive leg to get real stable in there. And I love what you do to your torso. Your front shoulder is going to close off. That's actually going to give you even more room to get into that scapular launch posture with that throwing arm. That action right there, right, like this move here, descending neutral, descending now, boom, counter. That move is going to then be a reactionary cause to why I think this goes. The analogy I like to use is think of it like a snake. Wherever the head goes, the body's going to follow. As long as we have the required stability to allow our energy dispersion to be linear towards our desired target, like as long as we have that, which you do, yeah, your head's pulling a little bit, but you're still expressing energy linear. You're a little crossfire, which I think I love. And that's not a big concern for me unless it invokes some cervical rotation restriction, some neck problems, because it does look like there's a little bit of wonkiness to it. Looks like you're trying to force your velocity. Screening. Let's get into the screen topics. Exceptional foundation, dude. You're freaking athletic. The thing I like to say a lot of times, dude, is like become just a really freaking good thrower before you become a really good pitcher. And what I mean by that is throwing, it entices a little bit more overall athleticism, which is going to influence your overall ability to consistently repeat your delivery and find ways to make in-game adjustments. I am a firm believer in that the athletic delivery, the deviation of throws where you're maybe a shortstop throwing on the run, time sensitive, you're a catcher freaking throwing to second base, time sensitive, you're an outfielder throwing to home to get the guy out, time sensitive. Giving your body this huge, vast array of different types of throws gives your body a better ability to make those little teeny adjustments, even though it's not even conscious. That's the whole goal. That's where I think I made the biggest mistake of my career, thinking that the adjustments that we make as pitchers was like an in between the ears adjustment. When in reality, this needs to take a backseat, trust our prep, trust the work that we've put in, and allow us to make those adjustments. The thing that I think is going to take you to the next level of power output is your ability to allow the slope's gravity to influence more overall energy in your throw. Kind of gets us into the energy systems in the delivery. I'm kind of a nerd on this. Energy systems that I see, first and foremost, the forward acceleration using the slope, right? Think of it like if you were hiking and you were going downhill and you were trying to go top sprint speed, you're going to be able to run faster top sprint speed if it's downhill than if it were neutral or uphill. So same thing applies, especially you being a bigger dude. That's going to give you mass going down, more force potential to have in your acceleration phase and then into your block phase. The first and foremost, the energy of forward acceleration and the overall momentum being picked up in your initial lift. Second energy, ground force production, right? What we put into the ground to get back when it comes time to block with the lead leg. Third, accounts for the majority of energy in the delivery is rotational energy, segmentation of the two rotations, creating rotational energy via segmentation of the lower half. Just to give you this real quick, we want to descend from leg lift, boom, absorb, and then that's producing into the ground. And then it comes time for our rotation of our hips. We want the hips to rotate. And then as soon as your hips rotate, the torso stays neutral, retract and rotate. I think that's a huge piece to velocity, dude. The ability to rotate your hips and get into into a leveraged posture where you're still into scapular retraction with your throwing arm. I think that's the biggest indicator for the guys that throw extremely hard, is what their leveraged postures look like. So those are the three energy systems. Now I group guys where it's like drivers, accelerators, hybrids. Drivers, big dudes, kind of like yourself, right? That can put a lot of force into the ground and don't have to truly use the slope in a way of accelerating their body, right? You can see just in your initial move, a little straight line Johnson there at 90. That doesn't quite get cleared until your descending move. Whereas, like I'll show you here in a little bit, we watched Chapman and he's more of a hybrid. Guys that do both. Drivers more focused on the ability to put energy into the ground, not so focused on getting forward. And accelerators are kind of the opposite, not so much focused on putting into the ground and more focused on just going down the slope. What Chapman does now, we know it's no accident that as old as he is, dude, and still freaking producing effortless cheddar bobs. As soon as he's lifting, right, he's getting into his coil and he's shifting his weight going down the slope, which is a very hard move. Hybrid guy who's going to be able to move down the slope, use gravity. And we see that in his initial lift, getting that momentum down the slope. And then when it comes to the drive leg mechanics, right, he does an incredible job of being already going forward and then just catching that fall. You do it as well, but you kind of catch the fall from a standstill, right? Up and down, leg lift, descend, boom, I can catch it here instead of up and down, lift, go, and then descend, catch it in the middle. What we do is we pick up acceleration, we pick up energy, more energy to be had down the slope, and then boom, then we can catch it in the drive. Now we have that going, we're a double threat of energy. That's kind of the way I look at it. So I think that's gonna be the first piece, that if we're truly wanting more power output to be had, which let's just be honest, dude, you at 92 at 19, yeah, that's great, but 100, right, is the goal. I love this idea of the initial move and getting that momentum, getting that acceleration in your initial move, because the really good picture for your body's capacity to express potentially more energy. We look at anchor point postures here, a lot more leveraged, connected, based. And what we see in terms of the commonalities of those two differences essentially is what we have in the long toss when we're getting our shuffle going, right? We're picking up acceleration, right? So it's kind of the same thing I was referring to in the slope with Chapman, is like picking up acceleration and then catching the fall, having both. It could just be something that we intentionally train in your catch plays, high tempo, rhythmic movements into a throw without articulation when you get on the mound. For me in the past, it's done really well because I cannot think when I'm on the mound, dude. If I think about a movement, I move like a robot. But I just love creating environments in our drill progressions, in our throw variations, where you increase the tempo and it feels a little bit almost rushed and it feels uncomfortable. And then you just find athletic adjustments without like panicking mentally. And then you get on the mound and your body just craves that and it wants to do that. What are the biggest movements in the delivery related to velocity? One, I think it's the momentum upon leg lift. What we can shift a little bit is just more potential energy to be had. Then the aggressive sink and catch of the drive. The descend into full load position. That movement here to there, beautiful. That's a huge piece to why you're throwing so hard right now. And it's a big piece to why your power output in long toss is so, what is it, 350? Because when you shuffle, you have that forward acceleration energy and then you freaking slam down and it locks you in. And that stability, that absorption of that move is going to allow for a lot of potential energy to be had and captured when we come into ball release. 3 is retract and rotate, the timing of segmentation. When these rotate, this retracts. Rotation happens, heel peels off the ground. At that time, this is pulling back. So you create this rubber band tension effect, but it doesn't really account for anything unless we can maintain that stretch and that tension. When that anchors. Then you build all this tension. I'm connected, I'm leveraged, I'm cushioning the elbow. Pull through block. I would say 4 probably is the block. Not only does it not move at all forward, but it actually kind of shoots that front hip back. What's up, dudes? Your boy Robby. Thank you for watching that video. If you're interested in booking your own analysis, be sure to click the link that you see right there on the video screen. It will tell you everything you need to know about booking an analysis with me. And if you have any further questions for me, be sure to check out the description of the YouTube video you just watched for a link to contact me directly. Much love, guys. Until next time, talk to you later.